folks. Good evening, folks. Tonight's discussion D is a bonus one, but it is how metformin affects the brain according to the page you're reading. The article highlights a surprising and important shift in how scientists understand metformin, a drug prescribed for more than 60 years as a diabetes type 2 drug. Frontline treatment for type 2 diabetes. Traditionally, metformin's power was thought to come mainly from its effect on the liver, where it reduces glucose production, but the new research described on the page shows that this isn't the whole story. The big discovery: metformin works through the brain too. Researchers at Baylor College of Medicine uncovered a brain-based pathway that plays a major role in how metformin controls blood sugar. This is the hiding in plain sight insight the article emphasizes. The team focused on the ventromedial hypothalamus, a region of the brain known to regulate whole body glucose metabolism. They identified a protein called RAP1 in the VMH as central to metformin's brain effects. When metformin acts on RAP1 in this brain region, it helps regulate blood glucose levels, meaning the brain is not just a bystander, but an active player in the drug's effectiveness. This finding challenges the long-held assumption that metformin's primary action is liver-based and opens the door to new therapeutic strategies. Why this matters? According to the article, this discovery could reshape how future diabetes treatments are developed. If part of metformin's power comes from the brain, then new drugs might target brain pathways directly. Researchers may rethink how glucose regulation is coordinated across the body. It reinforces the idea that the brain is a master regulator of metabolism. The takeaway: the surrounding page content makes one thing clear. Metformin doesn't just work in the body, it works in the brain by acting on the RAP1 protein in the VMH. It helps regulate blood sugar in ways scientists hadn't fully appreciated before. Here's a clear, grounded explanation of the text. Metformin's hidden brain pathway revealed after 60 years, based directly on the surrounding page content you're viewing. What the text means based on the page you're reading. The headline points to a major scientific shift. After six decades of using metformin as the world's most prescribed type 2 diabetes drug, researchers have uncovered a previously unknown brain-based mechanism that helps explain how it lowers blood sugar. The surrounding page content lays out this discovery in detail. The core finding: scientists at Baylor College of Medicine found that metformin doesn't just work in the liver or gut, as previously as long assumed. It also acts in a specific part of the brain, the ventromedial hypothalamus, or VMH, by switching off a small protein called RAP1. The brain pathway turns out to be essential for metformin's blood sugar lowering effects at normal clinical doses. How the brain pathway works. The article explains several key steps. 1. RAP1 in the VMH is the critical switch. Metformin must suppress RAP1 in the VMH for blood sugar to drop. When mice were engineered to lack RAP1 in this brain region, metformin no longer worked, even though other diabetes drugs still did. The brain's response to tiny amounts of metformin when researchers delivered very small doses of metformin directly into the brain, blood sugar levels still fell. These doses were thousands of times lower than typical oral doses, showing how sensitive the brain pathway is. Specific neurons are activated. Metformin activates SF1 neurons in the VMH. This activation only happens when RAP1 is present, confirming that RAP1 is required for the drug's brain-based action. Why this discovery matters. The page emphasizes that this finding could reshape diabetes treatment. Most diabetes drugs do not target the brain. Now that a brain pathway is known to be central, researchers can design new therapies that act more precisely. The team also notes that metformin is linked to slower brain aging, raising the possibility that this same RAP1 pathway may influence those effects too. The takeaway. Based on the surrounding page content, the text highlights a major scientific update. Metformin has a hidden brain mechanism centered on RAP1 in the VMH. That is essential for its ability to lower blood sugar. This discovery reframes how the drug works and opens new avenues for diabetes and brain health research. New research suggests that metformin, long viewed as a gut and liver focused diabetes drug, also exerts a surprisingly powerful effect inside the brain, reshaping how the body regulates blood sugar. The discovery centers on a small but influential region of the hypothalamus and a signaling protein called RAP1, revealing a neural circuit that appears essential for metformin's glucose lowering power. What the new science shows. For decades, metformin's story has been told through the lens of the liver, reduced glucose production, the gut, altered absorption, and microbiome effects, and muscle improved insulin sensitivity. But this new work from Baylor College of Medicine, published in Science Advances, adds a fourth and potentially foundational chapter: the brain as a metabolic command center. Metformin suppresses RAP1 in the ventromedial hypothalamus, or VMH. The VMH is a tiny region with outsized influence over the whole body's glucose balance. Researchers found that metformin switches off RAP1, a protein that normally interferes with heavy glucose regulation. When RAP1 is suppressed, the VMH becomes more responsive and can send stronger metabolic signals to the rest of the body. 2. Metformin activates SF1. Within the VMH, a specialized group of cells, FS1 neurons, light up in response to metformin. These neurons help coordinate glucose use, energy expenditure, and hormonal responses. The twist: this activation only happens when RAP1 is present and suppressible. If RAP1 is genetically removed, metformin can't flip the switch. The brain is extremely sensitive to metformin. When researchers delivered tiny microdoses of metformin directly into the brain, far below what circulates after standard pill, blood sugar still dropped in diabetic mice. This suggests the brain may be a primary site of action, not a secondary one. 4. The effect is metformin specific. Mice engineered to lack RAP1 in the VMH did not respond to metformin, did respond normally to insulin and GLP-1 drugs. This specifically strengthens the case that metformin has a unique neural mechanism. Why this matters: reframing of a 60-year-old drug. Metformin has been prescribed since the 1950s, yet we have misunderstood one of its core mechanisms. This study positions the brain, not just the liver or gut, as a central player in glucose control, a new frontier for diabetes treatment. Okay, guys, so that is it for tonight. I will see everybody tomorrow for shows. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.